Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland and Arsenal podcast. We are live for our end of season special, and tonight my guests are Fat and Miserable, it's Cunty McCuntface. Next up, Sheilas and Shrimps, it's Aussie Dom. Next up, serving bare Welsh justice fam, it's Jason Davis. Rum and Prostitutes, it's Kris Carpenter. The First Lady of Podcasting, it's Guna Girl Kate. Next up, our man in Poland, it's Stephen. And finally, blogger and all-round top gent, it's Mr. David Goonaholic. Hello, guys. God, that was a mouthful.
And you're here, of course, Cunty Face.
Oh, no, yeah, well, of course I'm here. So, how the devil are you, boys?
Splendid. It happened again, didn't it, Kim?
It did. It did.
Again.
I should actually start the show by wishing you all a very happy belated St. Totteringham's Day.
Oh, no? Happy St. Totteringham's Day, everybody.
Ah, splendid business. Always nice to see it come round.
Getting bored of it now.
People listening.
It's 21 years of boredom now. God. What are they going to do for their 25th anniversary? They have to get them something made of wood or steel or rubber or whatever the fuck it is.
They burn their stadium down, I think, again.
Did anyone else trawl through Twitter on the final whistle and just search for hashtag COYS?
Ooh.
No?
I don't know what that means.
Hashtag cunts on your screen.
Yeah, that's the one. Right.
Yeah, no, I'm afraid to tell you that there was some sort of exodus. I did have people reporting this to the Metropolitan Police. There were search parties out. The missing children account was looking for some 38,000 people from the N17 area of London. But people even tweeting T-Mobile to ask whether phone masts were working in the Tottenham area or not. But there are an awful lot of people that suddenly went silent and offline. Can't imagine why.
My mate Lee, who is at Smithy something on my Twitter, he's actually locked his account. That's how bad things have got. And he's a season ticket holder. Poor boy, we all feel for him.
No, we don't.
Oh, no, we don't. Fuck him.
Right then.
Have you seen what John Friend posted today? He's put a thing he did 3 years ago on Facebook that says Spurs spent more years in the shadows than Hank Marvin.
I tell you what, I do. If you're not blocked by Mickey Hazard now, you fucking never will be, you know.
And Graham Roberts.
Graham Roberts.
I got blocked by Graham Roberts for posting up what he did when he was at a Ryman's League club, written by the club secretary, and asked him for a comment on it, and whether he was planning on suing them for libel or it was true. I got blocked immediately.
No.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Apparently, lots of players that were on the payroll that didn't exist.
Oh.
Oops.
We should give a shout to Stefan Selby, who said all of the Spurs fans in his office actually worked at home on Monday. David, of course, we all know what happened on the day, and I'm going to mix this up a little bit now. We're gonna mix a little bit of their failures in with the 4-0 win. So, David, would you like to talk us through the day and how it all went down and the atmosphere in the stadium? Because from what I gathered, it was absolutely bouncing.
It was certainly that for the last 20 minutes. But actually, it was a funny old day. It started off, every day, the last day of the season, I'd go for a walk around Highbury. So that kind of gets me a bit down because you think of those days. Then you go and have a couple of pints and you feel up again, walk to the ground, nice spring sunshine. This is going to be our day. All we want is an early goal. And of course, we got it 5 minutes in and Giroud's in the perfect place to knock in Nacho's cross. So everything was kind of rosy. Nobody really expected at this point, though, what was going to happen in the northeast, and after about 20 minutes, although we're still weaving pretty patterns and not going anywhere, there's this great big roar starts to come from both the ends of the ground around us. And I don't know, most of you probably know that I'm fairly close to the tunnel, so we look down at the tunnel area where they've got television people and stewards, and they just looked back, nodded and smiled. So we knew that Newcastle were 1-up. The first half continued in the same vein. We play some fairly lovely football, but with no great sense of urgency. Not really that many chances created. I think Alexis Sanchez fired one just wide of the far post. But then just before half-time, there's another roar goes up. So now the crowd are kind of really getting into it, except that, we're one disastrous kick from Villa away from messing it up at home. Then early on in the second half, we had a calming glass of wine at half time, as you do. But early on in the second half, we were getting a little bit nervous again, particularly when the news came through that Tottenham had scored and Newcastle were down to 10 men, and all of a sudden there was a tenseness in the stadium that hadn't been there. But luckily, Newcastle can't get third, don't they? And that everybody was bouncing again. And that was the signal for us to suddenly start playing a little bit better. And Mesut Ozil found himself free on the left, played a lovely ball into the near post, and Giroud, who couldn't score for love nor money up until last week, got an absolutely sublime finish at the near post, lifting it over the keeper. And a couple of minutes later, he's been put in again by Hector Bellerin, has been played onside by a dozy defender in the left-back berth, and he's swept another one in. So now we've got 3-0, we're walking it. And then, of course, we get these two late cheers coming up again as Newcastle get 4 and then 5, and Tottenham have gone all clown shoes on us. And it was just really what put the glint on it was Mikel Arteta coming on for the last few minutes and all but scoring that 4th goal himself. Wonderful shot that's come down off the bar at the keeper and rolled back in. And it just made for an end of season that you couldn't see coming a couple of weeks ago. They had the lap of appreciation. Most people, to be fair, stayed around for that, which probably they wouldn't have done had Tottenham not taken the beating that they took. But everybody gave the players a good reception. The interesting thing, we knew that Tomas Rosicky and Mikel Arteta were going, and a great deal of fuss was made about them. There wasn't a great deal of fuss made about Mathieu Flamini. And although Rosicky and Arteta made a point of shaking hands with all their teammates, the other one who did it was Joel Campbell, which I thought was quite interesting, which might make for a discussion point later on. And it was off to the pub where I got completely and utterly bladdered.
Splendid effort.
Sounds good to me. Kate, we'll go to you next. David was in the stadium and you were at work. How did it kind of filter through to you in the day? Because it was a pretty fairy tale day, wasn't it?
Well, I think it's all very exciting.
I'm not shagging that.
I've got news for you.
Hello?
Kate.
Hello?
Did you hear the question, my lovely?
Yes, I did. Can you hear me?
I certainly can.
Oh, good. Yes, it was actually quite an exciting day. One of the guys I work with actually listens to the pod, and we were kind of sat there filtering the score back to each other between who scored when and what was being scored down at the lane and Newcastle and everything, and it was like, well, not the lane, but Newcastle, and we were all getting quite excited. We got Liverpool fans as well, and obviously they're not so excited because they're not as good. But yeah, it was a good day.
Yeah, it was, and I think a fun time was had by all. Steve, I mean, you had said in the WhatsApp group, I think it was a couple of weeks coming up before that, and you said that scenario that had eventually happened and said how funny it would be. When did you finally start to believe that that was on?
I remember about 3 months ago I said that their downfall would be Chelsea, and Southampton would do them because their players would want to get one over on Pochettino. And as soon as those two games they lost to Southampton so heavily, you could see that if they didn't win the next game or get a good result, the wheels were going to fall off, and they did. But I seriously, I thought maybe it would be a draw at Newcastle. Although we wouldn't win, it would be 1-1 at Newcastle, and it would still be amusing. But for them to lose 5-1, I mean, it's almost like being on drugs, isn't it? I mean, you're playing Aston Villa, who decide to show up the bastards now they've been relegated and be a pain in the arse. Giroud gets a hat trick. Not only do they are they down 2-0, they get a penalty back, and you think, oh, they could be back in it now, and then suddenly they concede 2 goals in about 5 minutes, and you just think, well, there's no way back from that. Me and my mate were dancing around the front room in here. Killing ourselves laughing, checking our phones, knowing fully well that certain individuals wouldn't be seen for 6 months, having been giving it large all year, rubbing our noses in it. To do it on the last day was quite hilarious. I mean, it was almost as good as Lasagna Gate.
Oh, definitely so. And Kris, we'll come to you next, and just to gauge your reaction on what you thought of the performance from the lads as well, because they certainly seemed up for it, and I don't think that they put in a bad performance either.
No, they were good. I mean, it is only Aston Villa, so you've got to kind of take a step back a little bit. Excuse me, but no, I mean, they turned up, they put in the performance. Yeah, like a couple of the guys have said already, it was nervous, it was a little bit tense, but fortunately, our good friends down the road were providing all the entertainment. I got a feeling a lot of our fans were probably watching the score of that far more than they were watching our game, to be honest, at times. But no, we turned up. We had a goal to set. We had to win at 1-0. I think me and John were joking during the game, sort of saying, "Oh, you just know what's going to happen here. You just know what's going to happen." And visions of Joni and Lescott sort of blundering one in off his arse or something. But as soon as we got the second, that was it. Villa did their usual fall apart. And to just want to highlight again, 5-1. I mean, to 10 men, you just couldn't write it, could you? You couldn't write it. So it's quite funny, really, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It definitely is. And Dom, we'll come to you next, and put us an Australian spin on how you feel. Word it in the best way that we know you can.
Oh shit, I don't know. It doesn't really get much better though, does it? Because it's very Spursy. You can't. It's probably going to end up in the dictionary soon, I think, to do a Spurs or doing something Spursy. It's not bad enough that they didn't go down 1-0 to a dodgy penalty with us having a win. They shat the nest royally with a 5-1 loss to a already relegated 10-man Newcastle, who have been absolutely atrocious all year. So I think it's just they are the gift that keeps on giving, aren't they?
Oh, definitely so. They are shit. Danny?
It's a lifetime gift, isn't it, really, when you think about it? 21 years. I mean, fucking hell, it's like a generation.
But does anyone else find the fact that they came so very close? I mean, I think it's kind of funny the way that they're talking, and their response to it was, "Oh well, we still had a good season. We've made Champions League. That's all we were hoping for." And it's like Arsenal fans are moaning because they finished second, and they're going, "Oh well, we've had the best season of all time." Isn't that funny, Danny? Just the way that their greatest season can be shit for us.
Oh, it's amazing the fact that they sacked their worst manager in living history, which was Tactics Tim, and he only got one less point than the coming in the new Messiah, Pochettino. That's just how deluded they all are.
Hold up, Dan. Hold up.
What?
Someone's called him up.
Tactics Tim actually had the best win ratio of any Tottenham manager in the last 10 years or
So
something.
maybe it's Tactics Tim won one game more then.
No, you had the best win ratio.
Well, 1 point more. There's one something more. I heard them talking about it on Arsblog today. I'm sure that maybe Tactics Tim got 1 point more or 1 point less than what he did. Pochettino did.
We've still missed a point here, Danny. Pochettino.
Yes, that's him.
Go on, say it.
No.
Go on, say it. Who's the manager? Who's the manager of Tottenham, Danny?
Pochettino.
What? Is that something I can get from Costa Coffee?
Sam Archie can't get on with it.
It's a version of Potter. I said at the beginning that Lee, the dirty Tottenham fan, is blocked his account. He just sent me a tweet saying to me to fuck off. So I think he might even be listening. So nobody be mean about Lee, the Tottenham fan, for fuck's sake.
I don't really think that this is the podcast that he should be listening to if he's easily offended as a Tottenham fan, which, let's be honest, they all are.
Which one of you mongs is waving your mobile phone in front of whatever you're doing this on? I can hear a buzzing every now and then. It's not Kris. Chris doesn't have Wi-Fi.
What are you sucking off Kris for?
Because he has Ethernet, like me.
It was my dildo, sorry.
It's all
Because
gone
Kris has
dirty.
got a BlackBerry that doesn't emit radio waves. That
You
Steam
leave
driven.
my BlackBerry alone.
Stamp on it and
Kris.
make yourself a smoothie.
The best part of the day was the foul by Mitrovic on Carl Walker, who I hate more than most things at that shithole of a club. And the other great thing was that Andros Townsend had a hand in one of the new cards. Did he dive to get the penalty?
No,
No.
Sissoko.
It's Sissoko, and it was an outrageous diver, which
It's
made it even more
fantastic.
hilarious.
Yeah, he should be sent with our Olympics team to Brazil. It's that good.
It was
What did he
that
do?
good, Danny. It was Ginola-esque.
Oh, wonderful. So, what did Andros Townsend do? Because I heard Arsblog talking about it today, and they're saying how hilarious it was. But I had the radio on at the same time.
Get
But
a
it's
fat ass.
the man that they sold to Newcastle because he couldn't make it at Spurs, and then he's there, and as they hammer them, oh, it's delightful. I don't even remember any of the goals. I was shouting and screaming all day. I mean, I only stopped grinning 2 days later to see them, that those fucktards, they only needed 3 points from out of the next 4 games, and they only managed to get 2, and they conceded 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, conceded 10 goals in the last 4 games. After, like Arsblog was saying, that Spurs' 4-0 away win over Stoke was the greatest away win in Premier League history. The way they dismantled a Stoke team that were letting in 4 nearly every single game. Oh, it's just absolutely amazing. And we were just saying before the pod starts, what Spurs are going to do for their 25th anniversary of doing this, because what's that, 21 years now?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
21.
absolutely glorious. Silly fuckers.
Amen to that.
Spursed it up.
We should talk about our game then. And does anybody know why Theo Walcott wasn't included in the squad at all?
Yeah, he was.
Nobody could find him.
No, he got injured in training.
Did he really? So he didn't say anything about that in the press conference, though, did he?
Funny. Odd.
But he was there because at the end of the end
Yes,
of the lap of whatever they want to call it, self-aggrandizement, Theo's kid was being chased by Gunnosaurus, which was pretty hilarious. Meanwhile, while that was going on, Santi Cazorla's kid was taking the piss out of the rest of the team with his football abilities.
Theo has kids. Theo's only 12. How's he got kids?
It has to be said, Gunnosaurus' movement was far better than Walcott's has been all season.
Indeed.
Did he shirk any tackles?
It didn't disappear as well, which is also a good point.
And is there anyone that disagrees with his exclusion from the England squad at the Euros?
Brilliant. Just means I was thinking about this earlier. Wait,
not
don't ask a question and interrupt me, you shit.
But it's not brilliant, though, is it, Danny? I mean, we always want our players.
Brilliant. No, he's not our player. He's going, and we don't want him to play the last game of the season so he doesn't get injured. Because he changes the page of a book too quickly, he'll get injured. He's not at the Euros, means he's not going to get injured there. So we're just going to encase him in bubble wrap until someone wants to buy him, and then they'll get a brand new Theo Walcott with no injuries. We'll get top money for him. Fuck the England squad. Don't need him. They weren't going to play him anyway.
True. Well, we'll go to Kate next. And Danny's coined phrase for Giroud was the French lamppost, but he was anything but, wasn't he, Kate? How do you feel about seeing him get a hat trick? Because he gets a lot of stick from our fans.
He does. I'm happy that he got one, and he looked really, really chuffed that he'd got it. Like, there was that passion in the team there at the weekend, and maybe if we'd seen that a bit more often during the season, we might have finished better or not had to fight right to the very last day to get where we were.
No, that is very true. And I will go to Steve next. Well, where do you see Giroud included in this squad for next season? Do you see him still being around? I doubt he's going to be the one that one of the ones that go.
I don't think he will be one of the ones that go, but I think he'll be surpassed by someone that comes in. I think he's going to have to fight for game time. I think he's going to spend most of his time on the bench. If we sign an out forward up front, that's where he'll be because he can't play anywhere else. And if we don't sign Walcott, that's where Walcott will be, keeping Giroud's feet warm if you can find him.
Very true. And it was an emotional day with Tomas Rosicky leaving, Flamini and Arteta also. David, just how much... I know it sounds bad because he's not played an awful lot of football, but the memories that he's given us in his short amount of time on the pitch are absolutely amazing. How will you miss Tomas Rosicky at Arsenal Football Club?
Lots, because we haven't got a player quite like him for... every time he got the ball, his immediate thought was to get the ball forward, either with or without him. He was either going to play an early pass or he was going to run at people and commit them. And he gave us a sense of urgency that made us look a much better side. Usually in the second half of the season, because he usually spent the first half of the season trying to get fit. And I think that's kind of the most frustrating thing, because he was really brought in to replace Robert Pires, and he was a player who could have hit the same heights as Robert if he hadn't had such an awful injury record. He was that good a footballer. footballer. And he got a very emotional farewell, and quite rightly so, on Sunday.
Is there anybody else that wants to say a little bit about Tomas Rosicky? You know, I know Jeff went on Twitter and he said, "Oh, these people banding the word legend around Tomas Rosicky," and I do think it's a word that is used far too loosely nowadays. But is there anyone that disagrees with what Jeff said, that Tomas Rosicky is not an Arsenal legend?
No.
No.
It depends on how you're going to define legend.
He can't be an Arsenal legend.
He didn't win any titles.
He spent half the time on the injury bench, okay? Fabulous footballer, great player, you know.
Love scoring against Spurs.
Well, yeah, but not being funny, okay? A couple of games doesn't make you a legend, does it? You know. Problem is, it's a career at the club unfulfilled. That's the shame of it. That's the shame of it, you know.
I mean, in 10 years with one of the best, it's not his fault at all. It's injuries, 100%. You look at the season where he got injured into the end, partway through 07-08. He had 6 goals in 18 games, and he was playing. He was in magnificent form. The season before that, he got 6 in 37. And when we bought him, he was one of the best players in Germany, one of the most creative players. Even to this day, for his country, the Czech Republic, he's one of their best ever players.
But that's the shame of it, isn't it? That's the shame of it.
Him or his skills, it's because he didn't get the chance to do what he could have done at us. Because look at the number of games. I mean, he's only had like a couple of 2 or 3 decent seasons, and the whole time he was with us.
How many games has he played for us?
246.
That's 5 seasons. He's been here 10 years, isn't he? You know, come on. That's the shame of it.
28 goals.
I mean, you know, he never got going, did he? He never got going.
No.
Because, you know, you could have built a team around him, couldn't you? He was that good, but shame.
For the most Premier League games he ever played in a season was 28. And then a 27, then a 26. And the least was 0 twice.
Kris, I'll come to you next. What were your thoughts on Tomas Rosicky? I mean, possibly one of the most technically gifted we've seen at the club, just really, really unlucky with injuries.
Yeah, I'm going to send the world spinning on its axis straight away because once again I'm going to agree with Jace on this one. I think the term legend is a bit far, and I love Tomas Rosicky. I just think to watch, I've seen him in the flesh a few times, and he is a magnificent footballer. Those injuries are what we're going to look at and think what could have been, but as a player, as a footballer, and as a man as well, you know, he's always conducted himself with class, and you know, he's always spoken very highly of the club and of the setup and of the fans, and he was one of those few players that you genuinely felt got a connection to the fans, whether that's because of the goals against Spurs possibly, but he always seemed to be very passionate about the club and wearing the club badge. So he will be missed massively. I just can't help but feel what could have been, because like Danny said, at Dortmund he was the Mkhitaryan or the not the James actually, because he's better than that, but you know, he was the new up and coming sensation of his time when we signed him, and I just can't help but think how much better could he have been had he been fit. But we have said that about a few Arsenal players in the past, sadly, so he'll be missed, and I really hope he gets a good club. I don't want to see him do the sort of the Aston Villa circuit, you know. I'd like to see him stay sort of semi-fit, and even if it was somewhere like the MLS, just where he can get a series of games and look mustard, because he's still worthy of that, I think.
Definitely so. And Dom, it would be a shame to have you on and not ask you your opinions on Tomas Rosicky's career. I mean, a lot of people will say that he was the greatest footballer in the world. You know, we know he's had his injury problems. Just why did he have those injury problems? Do you just sometimes get unlucky?
It's sometimes just people's bodies just can't handle the type of, you know, workload it takes to be a professional athlete, and there are biomechanical issues, I think, with Tomas Rosicky, where he kept getting soft tissue injuries, kept getting inflammation, Achilles problems, things like that. They're the type of injuries that are much more concerning when you start using the tag injury prone. Those repeat soft tissue injuries are the ones that you are much more concerned about. I've said it before. Someone like Danny Welbeck's recent 2 injuries have both been impact injuries, and it doesn't matter whose knee is in that situation, you're going to have the same result. So that is a bit of a, the unlucky tag that I understand. But with Tomas Rosicky, I mean, if there's probably a few players around that same era that if you think, your Abu Diabis, your Van Persies, your Rosickys, if they were all fit at the same time and were able to actually string a few years together, what might have been for not just the individuals, but the team in general, I think we would have been able to really push on with just those three in particular, let alone all the other ones that we had at the time.
And do we have any idea what's happening? Obviously, Kris just mentioned there that Tomas Rosicky was going to go off and find another club. He's definitely not retiring, is he? And what about Flamini? Anybody shed any light on that?
Depends if we can talk him into signing another contract just so we can keep Ozil happy. That's probably all I can see him being useful for, other than saving the world with his oil or whatever he's doing.
But surely he's surplus now, isn't he? I mean, we're talking about Granit Xhaka coming in. We bought Al Nene and his stats, and he's played really well. We've still got Coquelin as well. I'm failing to see where he's fitting in with this side, or if he's just going to be a bench warmer for the season.
Xhaka hasn't turned up yet. Neither has Kante, about who there's a lot of talk. I think they're keeping their powder dry in case they're not able to get the players they want.
And we can talk a little bit about Granit Xhaka as well. Friend of the show, Rafi Honigstein, put out a tweet saying that Arsenal looked to spend the big money on him and they were just going to pay what BMG wanted, and now it appears like there has been a complete U-turn and Arsenal have completely lowballed them. Kris, have you looked into this? Because I know you know Granit Xhaka, you know Borussia Mönchengladbach. Obviously they aren't going to let go of their captain for peanuts. So why are we lowballing them?
Well, after me, definitely go to Dom, because I totally agree with his thoughts on this. When you say I know Granit Xhaka, I don't know him personally, I'm afraid to say. I haven't had a chat with him, but no,
well, you watch about like fucking 90 million football games a day.
I know what you mean.
We have coffee on a Monday mornings. He's a lovely man. He's lovely.
He's a lovely chap.
You know Granit Xhaka, don't you? Yeah, lives on the road.
And his brother Concrete's a top bloke. No, it's very Arsenal if that's the case, but I won't steal Dom's thunder on this in a second. But I was one of probably the few people that are kind of in the boat of every player has got a valuation, and my kind of concern on it is if they're asking for, let's say, 30 million quid, if that's what they're asking for and that's what we've agreed, fine. If we've gone in there and said, right, we're willing to pay 30 million quid, and they've said, yeah, no worries, that's all good, and then they've come back and gone, actually, you know what, let's call it 38, then I would say, by all means, we should stick our heels in a bit and say, well, that's not what we agreed. So I think it's a lot of posturing, and I think the deal will get done. There's a lot of talk. The fact the player himself has now openly come out and said that London is quite nice and that Arsenal's a lovely team to play for, I just wonder maybe if his club are now thinking, well, he wants to go, so maybe we can just sort of test the water with a bit more money from Arsenal. But can I throw it to Dom? Because I know I kind of understand his views on this. I think he's got some good things to say. Go on, Dom.
I just find it strange that now it just seems like we're balls deep in Xhaka as it is, and now we're getting asked to put a condom on. It just doesn't make much sense to me at the moment that, 2 days ago Bild were reporting that we were happy to pay 40-something million euros, and 2 days later they're saying that we've offered 19 million pounds. I just think it's clickbait. I just think that it's just an easy way to get hits and clicks, and I'm very much expecting that there'll be another story from a journalist come out in the next couple of days saying, oh, now Man City are going to swoop for Granit Xhaka because Arsenal are stalling over a fee. It's just easy hits and clicks. And the other thing, I guess, when it comes to valuations, I know that myself and Bearded John, the Magic the Gathering superstar, we agree that it doesn't really matter what we pay because it's not our money, so to speak. Like if that's what the club have decided that they're going to pay to get the player in, then that's what they've decided they're going to pay, and it's because that we can afford to do it. So if we pay, I don't understand the outrage when people, oh, it's going to take 40 million pounds to get him, that's too much. Well, what's the alternative? Stay with Flamini for another year. it doesn't make any sense because either way the fans are going to be pissed off anyway. But it just seems like easy clicks, easy hits, and I very much expect the deal will get done if they're going to want to get it done. And do you really get this far down the line before you start talking about price anyway? Like, there's no way that we've already been sniffing around for so long. We would have known around about what they expect the player to be valued at. We're not going to go in and it's just not. I don't know. It just seems like it's just a really, really easy way just to wind fans up.
Well, boys, don't worry. Certain Twitter accounts have guaranteed us it's done. It's okay.
Thing is, at the end of the day, though, the two clubs can agree a price. If his agents suddenly get greedy and decide to try and up the price, how far do we get down the line with Higuain? That deal got cancelled, and this is a point I want to make, is that the Higuain deal got cancelled over £5 million extra quid. Now, if you think that we could have signed Higuain for 38 million after the season he just had last year, we'd have been pissing ourselves in the back row of the cinema if we'd have done that. If we want to sign Higuain today, it's going to cost us £75 million. My point is, this is the problem when you keep 250 million quid in the bank. Inflation's absolutely rampant with regard to normal inflation. That £250 million now can buy a lot less player than it could buy 2 years ago, even a year ago. Because now every club in the world knows Arsenal have got 250 million quid in the bank in cash. They also know that every English Premier League club is awash with money from the new TV deal and from the new Champions League TV deal. So, that's why Arsene Wenger can have his valuation of a player, but the fact is, at the end of the day, what he values a player at is irrelevant. It's what the market sees, the seller sees the valuation at. You don't have to meet the valuation, but I'm afraid to say that the price has gone up because British clubs have been more financially successful, English been financially successful than the rest of Europe. There's only really probably Barca and Real Madrid and a few, maybe Bayern that can compete on the money front.
Steve.
What?
Come on, let's be honest. It's a stroke of genius by Arsene Wenger keeping 250 million quid in the bank. You know it makes sense. And if he'd have bought Higuain a few years ago, he'd only be injured now. So what's the problem? Relax. Arsene Wenger's a genius.
Jason, haven't you got some single mum to go and meet in the front garden with a half a confectionery in your pocket?
That's Gonzalo Higuain to you, by the way.
Is that her name? How do you know her name, Kris? Is that little Kit Kat by any chance?
Why spend all that money when you could keep it in the bank? It's genius.
The Higuain deal, I thought that was Real Madrid us agreeing a price and then Real Madrid going, oh, actually Napoli have offered us more, and then Arsenal going, well, get stuff then. And the other, Arsene Wenger, I understand that people get pissed off with his transfer policies, but he's not an idiot. He's well aware that the market's increased. He's well aware that players are going to cost more than what they did a few years ago. But like Kris said, if we had not spoken about a
sure
price,
he is, Dom, because the other day he was haggling over fucking £3 million for a 20-year-old centre back with Bolton, who've just gone fucking bankrupt. So I don't really share your enthusiasm for him realising the market's moved up. To be honest,
I think when it comes to big name players, I don't think that he's got too much of an issue with forking out if he finds one that he likes. And I'm sure that we'll see what happens. We'll see if the Xhaka thing goes through or not. But
I reckon it will. I think it's just agents being greedy bastards.
Oh, no doubt. There's definitely, everyone's got something to gain from the price being higher and higher. But if it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. It's nothing that I'm going to worry myself over because it's nothing I can control.
No, very true. Kate, what's your opinions? Are you sick of Arsenal being tight-assed? Do you think that they should just fucking pay the money, get the guy? There's already a lot out in the paper. He says he wants to move before the Euros. Arsenal have got cash in the bank. Where's the issue?
Who was that?
Go on, hands up. Who burped?
Who burped?
It possibly could have come from Poland.
Oh.
Can always rely on Steve.
Just like it wasn't the other end.
I I think he needs to spend. He can't not spend again. We need to add more depth to the squad. We need first team players as well as depth, and he has no excuse not to spend. What could his excuse possibly be this year?
Do you think?
Stop
Kate,
being a tight ass.
do you think, Kate, because we've not had you on for a while, and this podcast has been a sadder place for it, might I just say.
Wow, wow, wow.
Gimli's gonna get him some tonight.
Oh,
Gimli's gonna get him some tonight. Gimli's
He
gonna
only
get.
creeps when he wants something.
Yeah, you're minge. Right.
Oh, lovely.
Oh,
Kate.
Oh.
and
What
then he wonders
is?
why he's got no votes in the awards because all the
I can't.
women boycott him.
I'm still fucking really peeved that Tom's got more votes than me. What is he? I host this every week. I write the show that makes it a success. Danny pushes buttons with his fat fingers and wheels through pits. I'm a vital cog in this operation. I've been beaten by someone off the radio.
Certainly a
This is
vital
starting to
something
sound
beginning of
like a
sea.
bloody Barry Manilow record now.
Can you hear that?
Oh, Mandy.
The saddest song played on the world's smallest violin.
Tell me your thoughts on Arsene Wenger, Kate.
I did tell you my thoughts on Arsene Wenger. I think give him another season, let him go with a bit of dignity, let him buy, and if he doesn't buy, then get rid. Because times are changing and we need to move on.
Lovely stuff. David, we'll come to you
Cough it
next.
up.
Now, pardon?
Cough it up.
Toss it up.
Cough it up.
I-
Not toss it up.
It's just because I was finishing off the spliff.
Jesus, you see a gutter, you have to lower it, don't you?
I
You
well,
see
I
a
was going-
tone, you have to lower it to the
I
gutter.
was going to David next, so I'm sure he'll raise the tone.
Good. Someone has to.
Okay, David, your thoughts on Arsenal's summer spending? Do you think that he's going to actually spend the money that has been quoted in the press that he has?
I think he'll spend whatever amount of money he has to on the players that he wants who are available to him. Now, that might be 10 million again. I don't think he has anything that will stop him from spending 90 million if he found 3 or 4 players who he wants and who he thinks they're worth. But it really could be anything in between those two. I'm as clueless as the next man. I'm not in the know.
Okay, and Jeff said last week that he would expect 2 to 3 in. First question, is that enough? Second question, do you agree?
Yes, I agree. Is it enough? If they're the right players, yes. I think we need probably one quality central defender. Certainly you need another quality midfielder and a centre forward. And if you get the right 3 players, then I think we have a squad that should be able to go one step further than we did this year.
Fantastic, thank you very much. We will head over to the people in the chat box now. It is your turn. Send in some questions to all the guys. Danny is going to be doing a question, and then I will take one of the ones that is in the box at the time. So hopefully you'll be able to time it a bit right. If you've got a question for any personal member of the podcast, then if you just put their name by it, and I will make sure that it's asked to the correct person. Danny, now if you'd like to start us off with a Twitter question.
Okie dokie. Right, here we go from Nicky Wilson. Says, can you really complain about finishing second in the league? Don't you think it makes us Arsenal supporters seem a bit entitled? Ooh. David, what do you think to that?
Absolutely agree. I've been saying for the last few weeks now that if Leicester clung on to that only lost 3 record at the start of the season, if you'd said to me, do you think Arsenal will beat a team that only loses 3 games, then I'll say no. What I think is probably colouring everybody's thoughts on the situation is the fact that it is Leicester City, and how on earth do Leicester City finish above us? They finished above us because they were the best team over 38 games, and we were the second best team over 38 games. Get over it.
I've got a question for you then, Dave. I'm going to jump in.
Yeah.
Do you think that before the season started that we did everything we could with our resources to give ourselves the best chance possible of winning the league?
No, absolutely not.
And that's why I'm aggrieved at finishing second, because I don't think we did that, regardless of who finished above us.
What do you think about that, Dom? Do you agree with what David said?
I do, but at the same time, I just look at what we did and what we could have done, and just can't help but feel a little disappointed that I don't think that we did everything possible to give ourselves the best chance. And that's all I ask for as a fan, is to go into each season and think, and be feeling like we've done all we can when it comes to transfers, even if that's not getting, absolute world-class superstars, but just what we could, and make sure that we give ourselves the best chance possible. That's all I want.
Is Jace back yet? Because his picture isn't moving. No, he's not back yet. He's off having a poo. Steve, what one thing do you reckon we should have done this season to have done better than what we did, apart from shoot more, obviously, or score more?
Well, it's quite obvious. I mean,
Tackle more?
Learn to defend.
Yeah, there was that thing. I heard today that in the last 4 seasons, Liverpool have let in 198 and Arsenal let in 165. Back in the old days, in 4 years, we'd have let in about 5.
Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, it's got to a situation in some too many occasions where every dead ball's like a penalty. It's like playing Russian roulette with 4 bullets in the gun. And it's sometimes it's the way we're set up, but it's players not organising. It's people not matching themselves with the right person to mark. It's people not being on post. There's people not deciding who's going to defend the keeper, and so on and so forth. And it's the same sort of ball that goes in front of the back 4, and they always get ball side first. We've let men get there, and bosh, it's in. That could have saved us quite a few points if we'd have done that.
Anyone else want to answer that before I move on to the next question? Oh, the sound of silence. Righto. This is from Jay Gooner. Says, okay, we're losing a few leaders like Mikel, Thomas. How do we manage the situations without leaders like them next season, Kris?
Hell of a question, isn't it?
They didn't fucking play this
I was going to say, they weren't playing anyway.
Hold up here, when have they been leaders?
I think he might mean in previous seasons.
I think he might mean
problems for years.
Still be a leader off the pitch, Jay. It's like you screaming at the telly. Makes no difference to the game, but you still do it.
I think he might mean behind the scenes as well. Is like people that
behind
deal
the
with
scenes,
things.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Let's not mix it up with being on the pitch.
Yeah,
Did you go
on
to the toilet, Jason, and wash your hands? I was going to ask you a question.
Sorry?
Did you go to toilet?
Hey, look, I don't wheel through piss.
No?
He went for a fag.
Did he?
Yeah.
One of them nice Welsh boys.
Behave.
Go on, Kris, answer the question.
Anyway, I think, if we're going after, let's potentially look at what we might be going after. If we're potentially signing the captain of Mönchengladbach, that would suggest to me that there's been there's something been identified that maybe we do need a few more stronger personalities. It depends what you sort of class as a leader, because some people lead by example. Other people, Steven Gerrard was dubbed as one of the greatest captains Liverpool ever had, and what the fuck did he win? Not very much. So just had to get that one in there. But no, I think
slip of the decade.
Yeah. Whoops. I think you have to look at a player that isn't going to divide the dressing room. You look at someone like Zlatan, for example. I absolutely adore him, but he wouldn't fit at Arsenal because he would just turn everything upside down.
If he score goals, we can't have that.
Well, yeah, and some people would say that's a good thing, but no, I think we do have to address the leadership issue. John made a point in the chat there that we've got Petr Cech, which is one of the most experienced goalkeepers in world football right now. He's won it all. You've got Mertesacker who's won a World Cup, but beyond that, there's not a huge amount. We were talking about this on the radio show the other day, and I've got a funny feeling that if he can stay fit, which obviously is quite a big if, I've got a feeling that a certain Englishman wearing number 10 might be considered for the captaincy next year, or at the very least the vice captaincy. So, sometimes you need that sort of bit close to the club as leader rather than somebody coming in from the outside. But if you are going to sign 2 or 3 players that have leadership qualities, I'd say that's only going to bring a benefit to the team.
Well, Akib was just asking about who the next captain would be, so you've asked that, and also, this bloody thing's moved.
I've got a question from the chat box.
Go on then.
And I'm going to Danny someone's name.
How dare you?
Mr. I'm squinting as I'm saying it. Paklapi.
I had one of those. They're lovely.
What signs are there that Wenger will be able to take us to the next step, or do you think we are fine the way we are? Wow, Steve, that sounds like one for you.
I don't. To be honest, I don't really think it. With 1 year of his contract left, I don't really think it matters what we think because he's going to be there anyway, and what will be, and it depends on what he does in the summer, whether we can take the next step or not. There is another factor, and that's a factor that really Dom can comment on better than anyone else, and that is if we can keep more people fit, then of course that's going to affect our ability to have done even better. And that was the second thing that I would have added. That the one thing we could have done this season to try and win the league to go the next step would have been keeping people fit, but that's easier said than done. But it depends on, really, to be honest, if Wenger's contract gets renewed. I personally wouldn't want to see it renewed. I think he's been at the club too long. I think the club have become stale, and I think even the players, they need a kick up the backside and a new system and a new way of doing things to freshen it up. But there again, Stan Kroenke likes money. Arsene Wenger makes his money, so it's likely if Arsene Wenger wants to stay for another 2-3 years, he will. And there's not really much we can do about it, so you just have to lump it.
No, fair enough. Danny, one more before we go back to Twitter. Or I've actually got two for you, Danny, so I will do two for you now. Let me just scroll back up. Mr. Ron Paul Swede asked, Danny, would you have Zlatan for 1 year at Arsenal?
Fucking course I fucking would.
Lovely. And Akib, he asks, for you, which Arsenal player would you most like to have on the Joe Rogan Experience?
Oh, that is a good one. I heard the TalkSport thing with Hector Bellerin and Arteta, and that was really good with Guillaume Balaguili. I know, there's so many of the best players, like Tony Adams, he's not a talker, is he? Bergkamp, he isn't much of a talker. Ian Wright, there you go. He'll join in with Joe Rogan, and that'll be a fantastic show, because he'll cunt a load of people off.
Wonderful.
There you go.
Right. Over to you for some Twitter questions, then.
Okay, got one here. Does someone want to answer this on behalf of Jeff? Does it look like Jeff's turning up? Doesn't, does it? I'll save this one in case he does.
Yeah, could someone get on to Jeff?
Yeah, get our people.
Yeah, we'll get our people to get hold of Jeff and tell him, get with the programme, dickhead. Where is he?
Right. Here we go. From TWR Neil. Wouldn't that be good if that's Tom Walkinshaw Racing? Anyway, he says, if you could swap Wenger for any other Premier League manager, would you? And if so, who? Kate.
What was the question, sorry?
Oh, for fuck's sake, woman!
My headphones keep cutting out. It's not my fault.
Well, you shouldn't have stuck him up Gimli's bum in the first place.
I didn't. He
Neil
does it when I'm
says,
at work.
if you could swap Wenger for any other Premier League manager, would you? And if so, who?
Oh, please, Governor.
No, pass it to Dave. Pass it to Dave.
Steve.
Yes, Pep Guardiola, because he's a Pep.
Steve. Sorry, Steve.
He's a Premiership manager next season.
Does he come with peptides? Because that's what we need.
Probably got suitcases with lots of Barcelona doctors who lose the blood samples as well.
Talking of peptides, Dom, what's your answer to this?
GHRP6. That's what I would be getting on. Google that, ladies and gents. It's good stuff.
No, who would you have as a manager?
Other than Pep, no one, I don't think.
Why would everybody want Pep? Brendan Rodgers is out there. I have to think how much of a great season that would be. Anyone else got an answer?
Premiership manager.
That's the point. Give it time. We'll be back at Liverpool. I'd have Klopp personally. I don't care how he did last night. He was managing. It's like trying to win a Formula 1 car with a one-wheeled car. No chance. The man is a legend. Look what he did at Dortmund. Anyone want to answer that? Who would you have?
I'd have Klopp.
Oh.
Because I wanted Klopp before he went to Liverpool, so I'd have him now.
With Europa League failures as well, Kate?
Yep, because let's be fair, he's managing Liverpool.
Do you know that there is one thing that I like about Klopp is that he actually shows some passion on the sidelines. Arsene Wenger, I just get the feeling, just stand up, bark some orders at the players, fucking run up and down a little bit, show like you at least want it. Do you know what I mean?
He's nearly 70.
So?
You can't run very much when you get to that age.
He's no fucking Zebedee, and if you finish 8th, all the passion in the world means fuck all. Grow up.
It's not his way, is
Boing,
it?
said
It's not
Zebedee.
his way. That's
Fucking
not
hell.
his style of management, is it? I know people will say that, oh, he should do this, he should do that, but it's not his way. And there's plenty of other managers that don't rant and rave and are very successful. It's just this whole passion thing. It's why I get so bugged when. And no offence, Danny, when people say, "Oh, Klopp's this, Klopp's that," well, yeah, he's passionate, and I'm sure he's a lovely bloke, but that doesn't win anything. So,
In Germany,
well, not a lot.
2 league titles, Champions League final.
Against two years where Bayern didn't really have their best side. So
That's because they haven't stolen all the Dortmund players yet.
Yeah,
Well,
but
there is
whatever.
that.
Didn't Liverpool finish with less points than Brendan Rodgers had last season?
yeah,
Wow, what a fucking masterstroke that was, isn't it? You know, you've got to give the guy a chance. You know, he may turn them round next season. He's
He
a
will
very,
do.
very good manager, but what was it after they beat us last season? I'd be saying, "Oh, look at him hugging his players." Well, when we beat them in the return leg, he wasn't fucking hugging them then, was he? No, he wasn't. You know, all this passion bollocks. Fuck it. You want a good manager. You know, it doesn't matter how he behaves. I don't care how much he rants and raves on the sideline.
That's some
I-
little bit of Welsh
I-
justice
I
there
wish-
for you.
I wish Arsene Wenger was a bit more Mourinho and eye gouged people. That shows a bit of passion.
Yeah, from behind. From behind.
Yeah.
The dirty scum cunt.
Danny,
Yeah,
next
yeah.
question.
Twat said, shut up. Don't say anything or I'll murder the pair of you. Marble Halls TV. Do you think we'll have a Higuain? He butchered this one. He tried to get into a tweet and ruined it. So he says, do you think we'll have a Higuain-esque signing and we don't get a 3-month-long imminent signing audacious stunt window? What do you think is more likely? Who's been a little bit quiet? None of you really. Gimli,
Steve.
you've been a bit quiet, oddly.
Oh, I wasn't listening to the question. I was reading to
Get with it, fucktard.
Then
As you
someone
say.
else.
Steve, he's always listening.
No, I'm not. What was the question?
Fuck me.
See,
Why am I here?
we're no further forward than we were after.
Did anybody hear the
I
question
was
and want to answer
listening.
it? Well, you
I was
answer it then.
listening.
Go on then.
Yeah, I'll go for it. Again, it's 50-50, isn't it? I do believe if the right player's available, regardless of what his standing is, if you can get him for the money, he will bring him in. So if it were, for example, Aubameyang and we had to pay 60-70 million and he were available, which he won't be, then I'm sure we would. But there's which player it is out there, don't ask me. But I know he'll be trying heaven and earth to get one in.
Anyone else want to answer that, lot, or none of you have? Is David the only one taking any notice of what's going on here?
Of
I
course, we're going to have a fucking palaver with the Arsenal, for crying out loud.
That's what we do.
It wouldn't be a summer transfer window without us pissing about, would it?
Without the odd audacious stunt.
Well, Arsene Wenger's he's chasing unicorns. He doesn't want to buy a stallion, and so he settles for a fucking donkey. He's chasing after players that just aren't there. You know, he desperately wants a Benzema or a Lewandowski and these type of guys, but they're just not going to happen.
And to think not buying.
Well, even if they did become available and we were prepared to spend £65 million on one of them, someone would come along and offer 75. So that's always been the frustration with me, is I'd prefer to take a gamble a season early on like a Lacazette or a Aubameyang before he decided to just explode and be amazing when we had a chance to sign him, rather than continue to just keep Flamini around as a squad player and keep Giroud as our first team striker. I know that we did buy Welbeck, but I mean he was injured for most of last season as well, and we knew that going into the season. But I mean, I don't really hold out much hope that we're going to be able to land a big fish striker, because I just don't think that there's that many out there.
There was a Mr. Fish who played at centre back for Bolton, but he's not the kind of player that we're after, I suppose. Shall I move on to another question?
We want Billy Fish. Leave the fish.
The bastard.
Anybody remembers Viz?
Certainly do. Yes.
There you go.
Right. One for Gimli. You listening, Gimli?
I am listening.
Not once for yes, twice for yes. Right. Yes. Lee Dempster says, "What did you make of Harvey Prince's Harry Kane impersonation on telly the other day?"
What you mean, Harvey Price?
Gimli? What do you do when people are horrible to you?
Oh, hello, you cunt.
So that was that. It was. I think he's implying that was a Harry Kane impersonation, was it?
I thought you meant oh, no, I can do Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Cunt.
So, do you think Harry Kane and Harvey were the same person? You've never seen them in a room together.
I think there's something in the gene pool. I think you got to be looking at fatherhood and pointing that in the direction of Dwight York.
Oh, that'll show why he has the ability to score the odd goal. Does anybody else want to try and say anything libelous about that? Good. Probably best you don't.
Why did you even give that to me? I'm like the worst person you could have given that question to.
Okay, I'll give a this one is about cereal. Okay, so people listening who like cereal. Waleed Omar says favourite cereal and warm or cold milk, assuming cereal is in the bowl first, then milk. Well, where else is the egg going to be? And so I'll answer that while you lot are thinking. Every day when I get up, I usually ask the offspring to go make me Rice Krispies, Cocoa Pops, and cinnamon squares all mixed up in one big bowl. And in fact, there's the bowl, and that's what's left.
Can we just back up there, Danny? Can we just back up? You said when you get up?
Every afternoon, every night when I get up.
Every night. Thank you very much. That's better.
That wasn't the problem that I had with it. He's having like 2 different bowls of cereal in the same bowl, and then he's putting some Rice Krispie squares in there. You fat pig!
Maybe we could Rice Krispie cinnamon squares, little things like this.
Maybe we could cast our mind back. Kate will remember this well. When Danny ate a bowl of ice cream that day?
Oh, it was a dog bowl, wasn't it? Or a mixing bowl of ice cream.
Yeah. And he mocked me for having a Viennetta the other day. I didn't eat all of it, Danny.
I mocked you with jealousy. Viennetta. They're from Austria. Did you know that? That's where they were invented.
I didn't know that. I saw the video of them being made on Facebook. Very interesting.
Right, so I'll start on the left-hand side. Everyone has to answer this about cereal. David, favourite cereal?
Every morning, without fail, I have a bowl of grape nuts with cold milk.
Oh, grape nuts.
Grape nuts, which is really a great title because there's no grapes in there and they're not nuts.
Well, there you go. I'm fucking. Let me guess. Dom does 1,000 sit-ups and runs 1,000 miles every morning. It doesn't have breakfast. Doesn't eat. Dom.
No, I don't eat cereal.
Why not? Is it full of vermin?
Too many sugars and carbs, Danny.
So basically, what he's alluding to there, Danny, is the fact that because you're eating all this cereal in the morning. Yeah, basically, you should cut down on the cereal life, mate. Get some exercise.
Park life. Kate, cereal, go.
I don't usually have time to eat breakfast in the morning. I just have a cup of tea when I get to work. But if I had to choose, I would have frosted wheats with a little bit of sugar on the top and cold milk.
Good God. Jason, let me guess, you milk your own.
Black coffee, cigarettes. That's all you need.
And asking whoever's in your bed to get out.
And a Kit Kat.
Fuck off.
Gimli, what do you have?
Lucky Charms.
Obviously, because they're full of sugar. That explains your mental.
Lucky Charms, amphetamine and a spliff.
Got Steve, what is it? Something cabbage-based as you in Poland, is it, Steve?
No. I used to go for the Jason Davis Welsh diet in the morning of cigarettes and black coffee, but since the old ticker started playing up, it's a cup of coffee and nothing else, none of that fucking cereal nastiness for exactly the reason Dom named. Carbs and sugar all over the shop, bad stuff.
Well, Rice Krispies, are they the ones with sugar? Mine don't have.
They've all got
everything. Everything you named has a bunch of sugar in it, Danny. I thought it's hilarious when you. I don't have sugar. I don't eat it. I don't eat sugar.
It's not Rice Krispies. It's Rice Puffs, the ones that don't have sugar on them. They're just plain bits of rice.
I can't believe that Lucky Charms with their marshmallow pieces in it have got any sugar in them at all. I always thought cereal was healthy. I was seriously been counting cereal towards one of my 5 a day for last year.
Cocoa Pops, innit? Cocoa Pops, no added sugar.
Chris, what do you have in the morning? Do you have a cold bowl of disappointment after another 9-0 hammering? A bit too much of that.
Can we get that team picture of Carpy 11 up again?
They're disbanded.
Miserable, bald-bearded twat.
It was like 11 Dannies.
No, I don't do breakfast, to be honest. I find it hard to eat in the mornings, but I do like cereal at night. Weirdly,
That's the best time.
But I was gonna say Lucky Charms, but Gim stole it. I can't remember what the other stuff is I like, but it's kind of like it's
You
kind of
told
like
me a sausage and egg McMuffin you like in twat.
oh that's before games. That's a pre-match breakfast.
You wonder why you get spunked on every week.
No, I don't play, do I? Me and the assistant manager in Mackie D's.
You did play. What happened last time you played? 8-0 gave away a penalty, wasn't it?
Never mind. Season's over, Danny. Don't mention it. No, I like that cereal that's got, it's like oats, but it's got chocolate pieces in it. I don't know what it's called, but you know what I mean.
Where'd you finish?
I think it's called Gug Nuts.
We finished 6th, Jace.
Six?
Yeah.
How many teams in the league?
He's in Europe. Don't worry about it.
7.
Hey!
13, you cheeky bastard.
Oh, well done.
Thank you.
Just above Liverpool.
And
So
we,
basically,
we only lost the 18 players during the season, so I think I've conducted a minor miracle. It's like we did a Bolton and we were taken into administration, lost all our players. It was heartbreaking.
he's the Pirate Allardyce.
Didn't go down.
Except thinner-ish.
Next question from Mark Blondal. He's got a little stash for his oaks. I think he's in somewhere cold. He says, I'll start off with Dom on this. He says, who needs in brackets, sports, unbrackets, psychologist the most? You guys or the team? Dom?
Certain individuals in the team definitely need a couple, but there's probably a few that hang around the podcast circles that I'd if I was shameful enough, I'd throw them in there in the mix as well. Someone like Theo Walcott probably wouldn't hurt to have someone just remind him that sometimes you'll actually get a knock here or there when you're playing football. You might actually accidentally bump into somebody, and it's not going to kill you. You're not going to catch AIDS or anything like that. So maybe he should try a little bit.
David, anyone from the podcast or the at Arsenal you think needs psychological reassurance? Medicated or unmedicated, I don't mind.
I'd better leave the podcast chaps alone, hadn't I?
Gimli won't.
How about Gabriel, who's looked really good player when we got him, but the last few weeks he's looked like he's lost whatever it was he had. He keeps on falling over. He's lost the ability to tackle. He would be a good choice for me. Work on him mentally, and we'll get him back to where he was.
And a language coach.
Yeah, that's too.
Anybody else want to answer that question?
Yeah, I'd go all of our listeners, because how the fuck they voted Tom ahead of me in that poll thing?
Tom gives out hugs.
It's an absolute disgrace.
When was the last time Tom called me a name? Never.
How Kris finished above me is fucking one thing. How Davey finished above me is fucking another one.
I always
your goblin box.
Raj Patel, what do you actually do?
Needs profiteroles.
He does moan, to be fair.
Most of his were from Iceland. The shop, not the country.
The glue that holds this thing together, and it's just a kick in the fucking bollocks.
I've had this since you started this poll, Danny.
Can't we just
It's your fault.
Every night I bet it's okay. I'm not winning. Why ain't I winning?
Seeing
really
as we've given Danny a was it Cunty McCuntface? Can we call him Raj McFour toppings?
It's 4. He's on the diet.
14.
24, maybe.
It's all of them. Even chopped up menus they chuck on there. And at some point we've got to do the awards thing, so that's going to take probably 5 minutes. So whenever you want to do that, or shall I ask another question?
Well, I think we should do the awards now, and then do some more questions, just to mix it up a little bit, just because we like to be a little bit off the wall and crazy.
A little bit crazy. Right, so go to the right page. Now there's been some skullduggery, some shenanigans going on here. So I'll start from the top. This one, there's been no shenanigans or skullduggery going on in the Player of the Year. First place, Mesut Ozil with 60%, 384 votes. Second place, Nacho Monreal. Third place, Hector Bellerin. And fourth place, Mikel Arteta for the 2 or 3 games. I think that was a sympathy vote. And surprising some of the odd ones. Rosicky got 6 votes. Who else got? Coquelin got none. Debuchy got none. Mertesacker and Gibbs got none. Ospina, Chamberlain, I've put Gabriel Pallister here. Gabriel only got none. But then Christian Bielik and Callum Chambers both got 1. Hey, that just shows how deluded some of our bloody listeners are.
I
All
know,
mental.
fucking voting
Oh,
Raj,
shut up.
Jason, Chris, and Tom above me.
Shut
And you,
up.
Danny.
Shut
Hey,
up. You needy cunt. Shut up.
Who did Kate vote for? Because I know you voted for yourself.
Go and fucking swing on your tampon. Fucking be quiet, Gimli.
Right, game of the season. Guess what the winner was?
Man United.
Was it the 4-0 defeat to Southampton? Oh, no, wait.
No, yeah, Ross voted for that. No, it was first place. It was Arsenal 3, Man United 0, 54% of the votes. Second place was Bayern Munich with 16%. Third place, our 2-1 win over Leicester at home, 14%.
Blah, blah, blah. Get on with it.
And Watford 4-0 didn't get any. Sad times. Right, guest of the year. Oh, no. Arsenal goal of the year. Any idea what this was?
The finest goal we've seen all year.
Was
It was
Ramsey.
Flamini.
It was Mr. Flamini, like you said. And he got 29% of the votes in the 2-1 win over the scum in the League Cup. Danny Welbeck against Leicester in the dying seconds got 26% of the votes. And third place, Alexis Sanchez's second goal in the 3-0 win over Man United. And I guarantee if we'd have put in there Newcastle 5, the scum won, that would have won goal of the year, game of the year, team of the year, everything of the year, but we can't.
Can
So,
I shamelessly admit that I actually voted for Theo Walcott's goal against Man City?
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh, that
thought it was
got,
a really good goal.
That got 23 votes.
The one thing he actually did all season, literally the one thing, but it
Oh,
wasn't.
I don't know that, but he was great against Bayern away, wasn't he? As much a prick as he is, he was great against Bayern away and Man United at home.
And Man United at home, he was brilliant.
Yeah.
Three
Wasn't
three
Bayern
games
at
he was
home, Jace.
I-
Bayern
I-
at home.
And his finest performance for the Arsenal is still on a stretcher.
I've got this
Apart from
vision
the
of
roads and the plumbing and the sanitation, what else has he done for us?
Nothing.
I've got this sort of vision of him going around Waitrose with the missus, studiously, avoiding other trolleys and shoppers, and going missing in the yogurt aisle, and turning up in the chilled food fridge inside, as poor Mel Walcott has to do the shopping on her own, whilst Theo hides in the frozen foods department.
You imagine the tannoy, Mrs. Walcott, your husband is waiting at reception.
Can you imagine on his way out?
Found him.
On his way out to the back door, he'll bump into Mikel Arteta on his Zimmer frame and get injured.
Oh dear. Right, next
Fall back through a mountain of baked beans.
right, the next one is best podcast, ex-professional footballer or celebrity guest. Because none of you fuckers have pulled any strings, including Raj and Gimli. There's only one person in this category, and that's Shami Shaban.
Hold up, he should win anyway. It doesn't. If you had Ian Wright on you, he should win. Rami's a legend.
Rami is a legend. So he got 100% of the votes, 380 votes. So congratulations, Rami, you are the winner. You're the only person in it, but you're still a winner. If we'd have been in that as Arsenal, we would have come second or fourth. Anyway, Spurs wouldn't have come anywhere. Our best podcast journalist guest. Well, the winner was Arsblog with 42%. Kieran at Swiss Ramble, he got 22%. He sent me a tweet saying, "Yeah, me too." He said, "He said I'm not even a journalist, but he still beat Rafi Honigstein, LeGrove, and John Cross because that's how much love John Cross got. He got 8%. Best podcast.
Who the cunts who voted for him?
Fuck knows.
Bearing in mind,
42.
he does do this podcast, so it might not be wise to cunt him off.
No, but not.
No?
Sweet, I like him.
I personally like John as well.
Well, there you go. Not that he'll be listening, but if you are, hello, John. You're welcome back anytime. Right, best podcast guest. Right, anyone guess who the chocolatey voiced winner could have been?
Oh,
Like he was last year.
Oh.
Was it the Asian sensation?
Was it Gimli?
Fuck off.
well, they aren't both Welsh.
Oh, I'm sure. It starts the G. It's Gimli.
No, it's Mr. Fukahanaj, live from Tokyo, Japan, with 40%, 204 votes. There's been zero skullduggery and gerrymandering going on there. Second place was Sardia at the Guinouette. She got 12%.
Danny,
What?
Kelly Mayer has actually raised a really, really good point here.
Does she want to come on? She's
Is FK really a guest, though? Is he a guest?
Of course he's a guest. He's only been on once all season. You can't be a regular like that, can you?
No.
We tried to
It
entice
must have
him
been
back.
bloody good if he won it.
Well, he's had he's got his millions of followers. He's been busy at work and he got married as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
It's not allowed out, basically.
No, so there'll be the footstep of tiny little FK Hanajis coming in the distant future. And second place was Sardia. Third place was Tim Payton with 11%, and fourth place Mark King with 10%. And I'm going to say who come in fifth place. It was Stefan, the tall blonde one. I know he's in the chat window and he always is. He runs our FIFA Pro team. And then it was Sim, simply enigmatic. I reckon that's gerrymandered. No one likes Sim. And then it was Akib. Then Akib won. He got 25 votes. Then Darren Berry with 23. Then Ellis Mel with 11. Then Akshay, who paid for our SoundCloud, with 9. And there you go. And who come bottom? Oh dear. I'm not going to say who come bottom. Ready? Are we ready here, Gimli? You're going to get the tears, the dump button for the tears. But as it stands at the moment, the ABW member that you love the most is me first with 119 votes. But we went and checked on because whenever people voted, I can go and look on our website and find out where I voted, where their votes come from. I got 19 votes in 5 minutes, all 19 from Saudi Arabia.
Oh, so, that's only because you wheel through piss and hybrid toilets
and sand. So while we are just saying, we've decided I'm not getting those votes. So we're going to go back to before that point. So Jeff wins it with 110 votes. I come second with 100 votes, and Raj, the gerrymanderer, come third. He says he's in somewhere now with no internet connection. I don't believe him. He come third with 92 votes. Kris come fourth. Well done, Kris.
Fourth place trophy.
You got that. That's the only trophy worth winning. Tom come fifth with all his student mates who don't even listen, gerrymandering at his second best.
Sixth.
And then Jason, the bringer of Welsh justice, he come sixth. Come on, Jace. I thought you had the whole of Wales behind you.
Oh, I couldn't give a fuck.
Oh, there you go. That was it.
I think it's just nice that somebody votes me in to begin with.
Oh, you got 53 votes of confidence there.
Lovely.
In seventh place is Gimli with 48 votes, one of which was himself.
What's your point?
And then comes the lovely Kate with 35 votes, all from people. None of them. But you didn't vote for yourself, did you, Kate?
She fucking did. Yes, you fucking did. Don't lie. I saw it. I saw it on your tablet. You fucking voted for yourself.
How could you see it on my tablet?
Because
I didn't vote on my tablet. I voted on my phone.
Dear, dear,
Live domestic.
It's not gone Jeremy Kyle.
Can you just mute?
Looks like not going to have such a good night
I
after
only
all.
voted for myself because he voted for himself,
And you got
he
your
loved himself
wanky
more than he
to vote
loved
for
me.
you as well.
Next, it was Andrew, and then our very own Goonaholic. And I reckon if he'd have done one tweet from his account to all his viewers on his wonderful blogs, he'd have at least come in the top 3. And then Dom, that's 24 votes. They're all against him. They're all from Canadian ladies that have got itch.
Racists.
And then then it was Steve, then it was other Jason, then John, then other Jeff.
Fucking get on with
Who
it.
got my vote? Simon, Cole, Drew, Chimp, and Luke. So they all.
No one cares, Danny. No
They
one
do
cares.
care.
But we stopped fucking caring half an hour ago. Get the fuck on
If you'd
with
have won
it.
it, you wouldn't be going. We don't care.
I really
No,
I didn't give a shit last year. I didn't give a shit the year before. Come on.
Unlike some, Danny, I couldn't give a fuck.
Oh dear.
And in any case, the finest member of this podcast is Andrew Fife by a mile. He's hilarious.
Fuck Fife.
He's fucking
Right, so we have a roundup. The winner of the member of the year was Jeff. The winner of the prediction league was Jeff. The winner of the fantasy football league was someone called Paul White with no more zeros. And the winner of the ABW fantasy league was Simon Collins, who had lots of Man United players. So we think we should have it taken off him. There you go.
Someone called Dr. Gray has called you his role model. Clearly not seen a picture of you.
Oh dear, that's very unkind.
Hang on.
He aspires to eating cartons of ice cream by the tubload.
Dr. Gray, I heard the word grey and Danny. I had visions of Danny in some sort of corset tied to a wall having darts. Can you imagine?
Danny and his sex
Hold
dungeon.
on a minute. Hold on a minute. Goonaholic's got fans here posting in this chat here.
Yeah, he has.
Backfire Pigeon. Holic is class.
And
Very true.
anybody that is interested in seeing Danny's film, it's out this summer. It's called 50 Shades of Shit.
Stephen Selby's got a very valid point. Jeff should be excluded for going AWOL.
Yeah, but then I can't be the winner because it's I can't. Then I'll be accused of gerrymandering. In fact, I took 17 votes off myself.
But
So,
that is
we're not here to
gerrymandering, though. But never mind.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
move on,
off.
shall we?
What does
Yeah.
gerrymandering mean?
The next
For
time
those
you
of us
say
who
that,
want to know.
next time you say that,
Vote.
Danny, you have to put £1 in the swear jar.
Danny,
Well,
you are
Twitter
the,
questions.
you are the
Twitter
kind of
questions.
person, Danny, that goes to a cinema and would cut a hole in the bottom of the popcorn.
How dare you?
Oh.
There's no need for that kind of nonsense. Right, let's go to Twitter questions now, Gim.
Thank fuck.
Okay,
Fucking
Midas 34 says, what was the Spurs collapse? A, fantastic. B, insignificant. C, the worst thing that could have happened to Arsenal's title ambitions. I don't understand how it could be C. Anyone got any answers to this?
Yeah,
It was just fucking hilarious.
It's hilarious, and the person that wrote the question didn't think it out properly. Next question.
Oh, right. We've done that one and that one. Bloody, I'm running out of questions. Okay, from Kafif Guna says, do any of you guys still believe that Arsene Wenger can win the league? I don't, and I'm not looking forward to next season. Oh, see, we've done so well. David's the only one here who talks any sense, so David, go.
Nah, because this is just going to wind everybody up. Of course, the guy's got a chance, but
Blasphemer!
exactly that. But he has to do the right business. You know, Steve said it earlier on. He has to do the right business in the summer because what we started this season just gone with, we're going to have less than that unless we get the right players in. But yeah, I think the guy can still do it.
If Crowder and Henry can do it, anybody can, can't they? You know. Let's be fair. He's had 10 years of failure around the place. Now he comes in, right club, right time, bang, wins it. You know, anything can happen, can't it?
Oh, who's having an itch?
I answered the question. I mean, he can, but if you ask me, do I think he's going to? I'm a little bit more negative then.
Chin up, fella.
Anyone else want to answer this question? You've been very quiet, Gimli, Kate, and Chris.
I agree with what David said. Like Jay said, anything's possible, but I don't think he will. I just think I think he's got too much work on his hands. He's left himself too much work to do. Well, we definitely missed a trick only buying Czech last window. He should have invested in the squad. You know, we've been over this a million times. Like David said, you know, yes, anything's possible, but will he? No.
I think he will if he makes the right changes. That's the biggest question because there's a lot he has to change about. It's not just the playing staff. It's about the way he conducts certain games, certain in-game tactics, certain teams, the way he's set up against them, managing the squad. But there's a lot of different, even the coaching staff, there's a lot that I think he has to change. If he does that, then yeah, I think he can.
It's too much, though, Chris, isn't it? That's too much, surely.
Possibly, yeah.
We've lost Arteta, Rosicky, Flamini, or possibly Flamini, should I say. You've got to replace those players. You know, how many of the youngsters are going to make it through this year? I know someone said in the chat box there, you know, do you think Torrell will make it into the first team setup or on the bench? I think he's left himself far too much work to do.
Hold up, yeah. Leicester just won the league, and where did they finish last season? You know, come on. It's not all doom and gloom. We've been dog shit and we finished second. Okay, you don't need I think people are just overhyping the amount of change we need to do. We just need to start playing attractive, exciting football again and getting the fans going and, you know, bring in a couple of right players and you're okay. 3 or 4 good players and we're fine.
The one thing we have got in our favour, which I'm sure David touched on before at some point in the pod, is that if you look at our rivals, and I know you could say the same about this season, but there's more changes needed at our rivals than there is at ours. We've still got the core group of a very good squad there. Yeah, there's a few that we do need to ship on, but we've still got a very good group of players and a group of players that know the manager. When you look at Chelsea, I've got a new manager. We're going to have basically a new squad. Man City the same. Liverpool are going to buy pretty much a new squad. United, I mean, God knows what's going to happen with them. It could be a new manager. It could be the same old crap again. Leicester are probably going to lose maybe 2 of their 3 better players, so they're going to have to change things. And people are going to know about Leicester next year. So the one thing that we've got in our favour is if we can bring in the right players and get things settled early, we've got a system that is already in place. We don't have to, like Jay said, we don't have to change too much. I just think the manager himself needs to change a few things about how he does things, particularly if he's going to bring in these new players. There's no point bringing in new players and trying to teach them the old tricks that has failed with the players we've already got.
The other thing about the players that are moving on with Rosicky, Arteta, and Flamini is they didn't contribute this season anyway. We haven't lost some really important experienced players like Lampard leaving Chelsea or Gerrard leaving Liverpool, where they were still playing week in, week out for the team, and they needed quite a big reshuffle. The problem I find with those players moving on and potentially like John Welsh just said in the chat box, how long's it been since we keep hearing every year we need 3 or 4, we only need 2 or 3, and then we'll be okay. And it happens every single year that we say the same thing. But the players that have moved on weren't contributing anyway. So I feel like we've like you touched on, Kris, about managing the squad better. That's a big one for me because it doesn't seem like he has any trust in the players that he does have in reserve, where if Coquelin needs a rest or was injured, we didn't have anybody to come in that can give the guy a bit of a break if he's played 6 games in a row, 7 games in a row, and he's feeling a little bit sore or a little bit fatigued. That's the thing that I think that we need to focus a little bit more on, or the manager needs to focus more on, is having some players that he can trust that can come in and play, so we're not playing guys into injuries, or we're not getting so stung by the fact that we're going to get injuries. We know that it's going to happen. And so if Wilshere is going to miss certain parts of the season, or Ramsey's going to miss certain parts of the season, but we don't have anyone in reserve to continue, good form or structures and have solid players come in, then we're going to find ourselves in the same situation again.
Well, there you go. Bloody hell, it all went sensible there for a bit. I didn't know what to say.
I've got questions.
Is it going to be, where's Mark Poom from? Because people seem to think that he's from somewhere other than Latvia.
He's from Estonia, Danny.
He's Estonia.
He's Estonian.
Oh no, who is he?
Thomas Daniel.
Igor. Stefanov is Latvian.
Stefanov was Latvian, yeah.
Yeah, wasn't Mark Poom the Derby County keeper?
He was, yeah.
Yeah, he's just Estonian.
Yeah.
Alright, whatever.
Did you see Richard Wright's retired, Danny? I'm sure you're shedding a tear.
I certainly did, yes. He's 38 years old. He's on $7.5 grand a week. Not bad.
And Dom's
Didn't play a game.
Tom's just I've also retired from professional football, having not ever played a single game.
I was a sub
the equivalent of Richard Wright. Hey?
I was Dean, who's in the chat window. He'll know I was a sub for Rowdies in 1980.
Hey.
Never got to play.
I've got questions. Luis Carlos Hernandez asks, what youth player do you think is more likely to have an impact next year? Me, I would love to see Peguzuelo break through.
Is that it? No one else going to answer?
John Torrell.
Yeah, Torrell's the one, I think.
Torrell.
Chris Willock is another one, possibly.
Adelaide will have a go next season, won't he?
Yeah.
He probably, yeah.
Next season.
As
he's
Yassin
physically ready.
Who?
Renner Adelaide, he's physically ready.
Like,
he doesn't.
Gotcha.
He's not going to need to go and work on any kind of Sonogo-esque type muscle building stuff. He's already a pretty solid boy.
Have you thought about Yaya Sonogo at centre half? The ball doesn't go anywhere near the goal.
What about Kim? Isn't there a guy who's been on loan at Rangers? I can't quite remember his name.
His name begins with a Z. Can't think. Does anybody in the chat window know?
That went like a bag of wank, didn't it?
I believe the fellow you
I tried.
Is Zelalem.
To fucking live.
I had to explain that to a Rangers fan at the weekend. He didn't think it was funny, and he didn't get it.
That's because he's Scottish. Scottish don't have humour. They don't understand humour. We know this.
I'm not being funny. There's only one jock we know with a sense of humour, and that's Jock Man. Okay.
That's very true.
The rest of them are dour.
That is very true. I have another question. Matthew AFC asks, what players do you think will join us, in your opinion, out of Xhaka, Stones, Mahrez, Mane, Morata, Kante and Fekir? That's a good one.
Fuck, I've forgotten half of the names you've already said. I'd say Xhaka will probably most likely be the one that would be, most likely to come in. And as far as the other ones that I would like to come in, the only one I think would probably be Morata. I'd love Mahrez. Mahrez would be fantastic too, but I don't think we're going to get two forwards come in. I think that would be a bit of a stretch.
I'd tell you, I can see Lacazette joining this summer.
Oh, yes, please.
I can see Lacazette. I don't know why, but...
The problem you've got, Jace, is that if we are interested, I hope we are, it's the money that we're going to have to pay, because the Lyon chairman has already come out this week and said that he is a marquee player, and he says he wouldn't accept less than 50 million euros.
He's not even in the French squad.
That's the one X factor. The problem you've got is PSG are quite keen, and they obviously need a centre forward. So
do you think that PSG wouldn't be trying to land a bigger fish?
They
using him as more of a backup, do you think, or is he going to? Because if they go after somebody, it's most likely they're going to get, like, if they go after Higuain, for example, they're probably not going to bother with Lacazette as well, are they?
No.
The problem you've got, well, I say the problem you've got, it depends on Cavani, because he wants to move on to play regularly. So if they ship out Cavani, they've then got room for two. Because then if they bring in,
going, isn't he?
He's probably going to go, but it depends, because if they say right. He's wanted to play centrally for years, and now they've moved Zlatan on. He's got the opportunity to play centrally, and now PSG are going, oh, we need a striker. So he's probably sitting there thinking, hang on a minute, this should be my chance. So if he moves as well, then you could argue they could go after two players, and they want Ronaldo. That's the one they want.
But
he's the marquee signing.
It's one of those. It just seems the right time for the player, and it just seems the right fit for the club.
Oh, he's perfect fit. Can play both sides. He's quick. He's direct. He's strong. He's banging form. He's French, for Christ's sake. I mean, he's as close. I've said for years, even before he got popular in the media, and everyone started thinking that they knew a lot about him before he'd even popped up. He's the closest, I think, to Henry before we signed Henry, if you get me.
And he can hit the set piece.
Oh yes, that's always a bonus.
The only person I would be asking who we should buy as a striker would be Mesut Ozil. I'd say, Mesut, you tell me who you need, son, and we'll go out and try to get him for you.
Yep.
The guy's created about 745 chances this season alone, and we just need some. I mean, Giroud's got the second highest goal and assist per 90 minutes of anybody in the Premier League behind Aguero this year, which is surprising, but I don't think there's any debate that we probably need somebody a little bit more clinical and that doesn't run so hot and cold. I'd prefer someone to get a goal every game than 3 goals, every 4 months at once.
Imagine our front line with pace. I mean, that front line with pace and
hail and pace.
Hail and pace. I love Olivier Giroud, but I'm in the camp that says we can win the league with him, but we can't win the league with him alone. We need another. And if you can go to games at Stoke, I know it's always the cliche, but if you can go to Stoke and say, right, this is your game, Ollie, we'll stick you up top, you hold the ball up for us, son, you do your bit. And then at home to the shitty side, you unleash all that pace, and you basically do what we did against Man United. Every home game, you say, right, you go at them, full pace. Then you've got 2 striking options. Whereas we've got one option, or Theo Walcott.
What about Steve? I want to know who Steve wants. Anyone?
I'm sort of tossing up between reality of what we will get and what I'd like. I mean, Lacazette for me would, again, I agree with Kris. I think he'd be the ideal candidate. But Morata, Kris, you all know this. Did he play with Ozil at Real Madrid?
I think he did.
He did.
I think he did. Yeah, for one season before he shut off. That
might well be because what Dom just said makes complete sense. That you would ask the guy creating all the chances who he'd like to work with. He may have said Morata. You don't know. But I think the likelihood of us buying Higuain is very, very little. And what's completely incredible, if you think about this for a second, that Higuain might be 65 million or 70 million quid, but so could Lukaku be. And the gap between the two players, technically and delivery-wise, is massive. Unbelievable, isn't it? Just because one plays in the Premiership and is at an English club and the other one isn't.
So Mesut was at Real Madrid between 2010-11 to 13-14, and Morata was in the Real Madrid first team from 2011 to 2014. So yeah, he would have played 2.5, 3 seasons on and off. He didn't make many appearances his first year, but his second 2 years, and he got 8 goals from 23 appearances in his 13-14 season. He got 2 from 12 appearances in 13-14. So he wouldn't have played with him a lot, but he would know Mesut Ozil's game, definitely.
And
So
that's
that
what worries me
tallies.
about Morata, Chris. He hasn't scored a hatful of goals anywhere yet. I know he's playing in a difficult league this year, but he hasn't scored a hatful of goals anywhere. And I don't think, when we talk about Arsene only paying what he considers to be value, I don't think huge money is going to be value for Morata.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I suppose John's a good one to ask because John watches a lot of the Italian league, and he has been good at Juventus, but he's not played enough games to judge. And the trouble is, you never know what you're going to get, because if you just said to Borussia Dortmund when they signed Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang that you're going to get a player worth 70 million in 2 years, they'd have laughed at you. Because at St Etienne, he was bog average. I mean, he was a decent winger with a bit of pace, didn't have a lot else, and he's gone to Dortmund, and under the right coach in Tuchel, he's been put through the middle, and he's just flourished. So who's to say we couldn't go out and just spend 10, 15 million, bring in somebody that is, maybe not a name, but could flourish into something. The trouble is a lot of our supporters won't be happy with that, because they'll go, well, who's this Dutch kid? Like Van Persie, for example.
If we don't get Troy Deeney, I won't be fucking happy.
Do you know what? He'd probably do a job for us, Chase. He'd probably do it.
Oh,
Callum Wilson would as well at Bournemouth, but we wouldn't take it to stab, would we?
Let's be fair, Troy Deeney wouldn't make it out of the fucking Blackstock Road. He'd be caught in a fucking chicken shop and missed the kickoff.
Would you take Danny? Let's ask you a question, because you haven't had any questions.
Go ahead.
Would you take a gamble on someone like Troy Deeney? What about Igalo, someone like that? Would you take a gamble on somebody who's...
because he's the kind of player that is constantly looking for a money move to Madrid or Barcelona. I don't want any more of those little pricks at the club. I want somebody who's going to come, who's going to be happy to stay, much like Giroud has. He's happy to stay there. Not that many other people really want him, but he's never gone, I want more money. He's never done the Theo Walcott of, no, I'm not signing it. He's just gone out there and done the job, scored the goals, done all right. When he's allowed to play as a number 9, he's brilliant.
So if we went out and bought somebody from Spain who'd scored 10 this season, or we went out to France and got somebody who scored 12, would you be happy with that, or would you say that?
I want Lacazette, because he'll get 30 goals a season in the Premier League, and bring Fekir with him as well. No, Ozil's going to go. I don't think Ozil's going to stay. So replace him. The money we get from him, you could buy Lacazette and Fekir.
Okay. It's a nice idea.
Which particular Fekir are we thinking about signing?
Fekir off. Back to you again.
Next question.
What's he doing? Gim?
He's on mute. He's got to be.
Silly shit.
Yes,
Hello.
He's still with us?
yes. Hello.
Oh, God. Told you, stop using Wi-Fi. No one else does.
I do.
Shit. Shush. No, you don't. But you don't live in a cave in deepest, darkest Wales where there is no Wi-Fi. Well, as Gimli doesn't seem to know what time it is, I'll ask that question that was for Jeff. This is a bit of a mean one, but Jeff will probably ignore it. From some bloke called Let Arsenal, just to prove that we're not all pro Jeff here. Well, we all are, actually. But he says, any chance you can do a Colombian necktie on Jeff Arsenal while you shove his testicles up his arse live?
I see.
If he'd have turned up, we'd have done it. No, see, we do ask stupid questions. No, we wouldn't do that. And if you find Jeff, say that to him yourself, and we'll come to your funeral.
Tell you what, Simon Hardwick asked a good question on. I think it's Simon.
Yes.
Okay, if one had to leave, who would you choose? Sanchez or Ozil?
Probably Ozil, because he's going to go eventually.
Anybody else?
Go eventually, I suppose.
It's really hard, isn't it? Because I said Ozil at first, but the more I've thought about it, the more I think that a player like Alexis is replaceable.
Yeah.
But a player of Ozil's quality, I'm not sure is.
Ozil's more efficient with the ball. He doesn't give the ball away as much.
Yeah.
You know,
I would go for Sanchez on the basis that he does lose the ball a lot. He seems to also be very temperamental and has got a bit of a. He's been turning up late for training. Apparently, seems to have a bit of a sort of I must play every minute of every game. He just doesn't get this concept of managing his physicality by the team, which led to him getting injured in the first season or the second season he was with us. So, for me, yeah, we could replace him. I wouldn't like to see either go, to be honest, because I don't think it does a lot for the club's reputation of attracting players of a similar class when someone walks out the club like that.
Yeah, but it happens, doesn't it? It happens at every club.
The fact that only Liverpool wanted Sanchez other than us it would suggest that maybe Ozil was more. Because if Ozil left, he would only go to a club of a Bayern Munich standard, wouldn't he? Let's be honest. Whereas Alexis, I'm not 100% sure he'd go to an elite club if he left. If you get me, I don't know. I may be wrong, but
you look at it, okay. That Bayern Munich home game, okay. Sanchez is giving the ball away, in her own half in dangerous positions. There's always that in every other game with him.
And he always wants to touch the ball 4 or 5 times too, doesn't he? He doesn't really like the one touch, move the ball on quickly type thing. He always slows our build-up play down a little bit sometimes, I think, Sanchez.
Exactly, and he always cuts inside. Dave, what do you think?
I think that I wouldn't even like to consider either as an option.
Dave,
both players.
Dave, choose.
They
Dave.
both bring everything. No, I think it's a dumbass question. Sorry.
I like that question. I like that question a lot.
No, we're in a position where we have 3 possibly world-class players, and you don't want any one of those 3 to go.
No, that's right.
I don't really want him to go, but Ozil isn't going to. He's a world-class player, went in the right team, and he's not going to put up with it for much longer, is he? I mean, there's only a certain amount of money you can pay people, and he's not even on that much, is he?
Hold up, Danny, okay? Let's get something straight. We always say this, he's not going to put up with it, they're not going to put up with it. They've got to fucking do something about it as well. They're part of this team. You're either in it, and you're working towards it. They can all shake their heads on the pitch or no. But, they're part of that team. They've got to take responsibility themselves.
I think in Ozil's case, I'm afraid, Jace, I think he does take the fucking responsibility. He's created the chances, and lots of them.
He's had his bad days as well.
Yeah, but lots of them have been fucking squandered. I mean, I remember he had the right arsehole when we fucking drew with Norwich, and rightfully so, because he put it on the plate left, right, and centre for the forwards, and they conspired to fuck up and not score. The thing is, at the end of the day, with Ozil, this is his last big contract before he sort of reaches the time where he sort of goes past 30. And then he's not going to be able to play at the highest level again. I don't want to see any of those players leave. I agree with Dave. It's a shit question. I think we need to get more world-class players, not less.
Mm-hmm. You imagine how good Ozil. I mean, he's been rated. I think he's actually been underrated a lot of the time this season, especially if you look at the Team of the Year and stuff. And people rave about fucking Jelly Belly at Spurs and all that. And
the point is the benchmark, isn't he, Kris?
Yeah.
They don't mention him until that little fucking twat Jelly Belly has fucking a couple of good games. All of a sudden he's compared to Ozil, but. Ozil's not in the team. It is ridiculous. The fact is, at the end of the day, Ozil won't pass the Theo Walcott, and you can see why.
And imagine if he converted a lot of those chances he set up. I mean, if we'd have taken another 10 of those assists he'd have set up. I mean, it must be hard when you're a player, when you're that good, and you've been laying it on a plate for Higuain and Ronaldo and all that, and then suddenly you're feeding in, Theo Walcott. And I hate to pick on Theo, but that it's there, isn't it? It must be really soul destroying when you create that much. And then we heard the Sunderland game where he's like, for fuck's sake, and I think all of our fans kind of thought, well, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Equally, his body language isn't always the best, but that's the player he is. Matt Letizier's body language was fucking abysmal at Southampton. Nobody criticises him, do they?
No.
When you've got Giroud leading the line, he's not going to run in behind defences. So Ozil's a lot of the time passing the ball to his feet while Giroud's got his back to goal and has to play a slightly different way. You put a different striker in there that has the ability to get in behind a defence, and all of a sudden that defence has to play differently. It's so predictable. Every single time a team comes to the Emirates, and I know that I'm sort of sound like I'm bashing Giroud, but it's just that we don't have another option. So all they do is they defend narrow. They put around 8-9 players around our box, knowing that we're going to try to pass through a brick wall, and then they launch a counter attack. And it must just get really frustrating for the guy, having all of that skill, all of his skill set, but not really being able to use much of it because he's just passing the ball at feet all the time.
But again, sorry, but
No, go on,
again,
Chase.
when you watch when Ozil, Ramsey and Giroud are on form, their interplay with each other is absolutely phenomenal. Those three together with Ramsey making a run off and Ozil just pulling the strings, and Giroud's touch at times can be fabulous. It's a shame he's missed so many sitters this season because those guys can play together. They can be a joy to watch, can't they?
You imagine Henry, just pick 4 of the Invincibles. Just imagine Henry, Pires, Ljungberg, and even Sylvain Wiltord with Ozil playing him in. You imagine how many goals he'd have got in that team.
Imagine how many Marshall would get with him there.
Well, yeah, a player of that style, yeah. Or even Alexis making the correct run more often than not. Because I love Alexis, but my God, doesn't he have to go into a crowded area too much sometimes?
There was a stat though. I will bring this up. There was a stat that said that if all of the shots that hit the woodwork for us went in, we would have won the league.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a game of inches, that's for sure, isn't it?
With all due respect, though, I think that would probably apply to any team in the top 5 or 6.
No, because actually
we hit the woodwork way more than anybody else, didn't we, Steve?
Yeah, because it's quite interesting because second was Leicester, and in that league Tottenham finished 5th, which you'll like, Dave. But they finished 5th because they didn't hit the woodwork as much. At the end of the day, those leagues are all semantics anyway. Because okay, if it went in, well, if I was married to fucking Miss World, I'd be a happy man. But I'm not. So.
George Best he wasn't happy.
So the question isn't should we shoot more, should we tackle more, should we defend more? It's should we shoot and hit the bar less? I think that's the question we need to be asking.
Should we win more?
Should we need bigger goals?
Yeah. Should we sign more?
No.
Should we be less shit?
No, that'll do it.
Should we talk less bollocks?
Right, we've gone from one question threatening Jeff's life to one from asking about a friend. This is Sean Clark says, when does Bentner receive his invite back to training? In brackets, just asking for a friend. He's too embarrassed to ask the question himself. So, how long before Bentner is back at the club now that he's on a free?
Never.
I think he'll probably arrive with Andre Santos if Gibbs leaves. I think those two are probably...
Andre Santos would eat him.
What?
Santos is currently playing
in Brazil.
No.
I'd rather have fucking Andrew Fife.
Oh no, he's in Switzerland, isn't he? Is it Lausanne? I think it's Lausanne.
He's scoring goals, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just
goals.
Yeah.
Santos would have to come with somebody else. Isn't he banned from driving in Britain?
I think he is.
After driving to training at 130 mile an hour.
Bentner would be banned from getting in cabs in England, so they'd both be a bit fucked, wouldn't they?
Getting in or getting on cabs? That's the question.
Two more.
Fucking Arsenal window lickers minibus. What with Jack's records with cabbies?
They'd have to get an Uber.
Yeah, Bentner having cab issues and stripping naked after car crashes, and Santos not being allowed to drive.
Just one thing though, how fucking stupid do you have to be to play for a club owned by Volkswagen and get pictured in Mercedes? How fucking stupid do you have to be?
Well, Nicholas Bentner's stupid, obviously.
Oh, hey!
Bit like being from Denmark and eating Canadian bacon.
Can we just put this into context? We are talking about a guy who was about 27, 28, and he married a stunning 37-year-old Danish multi-billionairess.
Princess, yeah.
Married her, had a child with her, and then when after the child arrived, decided didn't fancy it and fucked off and got divorced. But had he stayed there and put up with it, he would have got a castle, all her billions, the full lot.
Gimli's got a castle and he's not happy.
You know where he'll end up though, don't you? Alan Pardew is rubbing his hands together with glee right now, going, I could have Adebayor and
Adebayor's leaving.
Bentner. Oh, is he? Oh, well, there you go. Perfect replacement. Bring in Lord Bentner.
How about Nicholas Bentner to score in the cup final for Man United against Man United?
That would be
Bender and
delightful.
Shamak, there's a front two to strike fear into the hearts of every Premier League fan.
I think that's more likely to strike fear into the gussets of young ladies in West End nightclubs, actually, given
Right.
their reputations.
Right, stop trying to get us in trouble. 2 more questions. One from Jax Joseph, our number 1 Haitian viewer. He says, Are we excited? That's what happens when English isn't your first language, I suppose.
Yeah,
How
like yours.
excited are we for transfer season? ITKs are already in full force. 12-year-old agents and jugtastic models rejoice. Gimli, what do you think to that?
Not a lot.
listening.
What?
You don't think a lot to it?
No, not a lot.
Are you still with us, or are you in a pile of your own dribble?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's lovely stuff.
Oh,
Can
what do you
for
think of
me-
the current ITK situation, and are you thinking of becoming one?
No, I'm not becoming one, and I think they should all be executed in front of their families.
How dodgy did he say when he said that?
Can we start with a guy whose girlfriend's a nurse?
No,
Look at that.
we don't need that. Getting that kind of NHS style.
I'm not a chartered accountant, but
I'm not a
Bad
cunt, I know
times.
one.
do you know what? There is a serious point to this, though, and I think Jeff, our very own Jeff, made this point the other day, is that there's a very fine line between sharing your knowledge and having a conversation with somebody about your views on a player that's linked, and basically saying something's definitely going to happen. Do you know what I mean? Because I think some people genuinely just go on Twitter and like to talk to people, and some people love the speculation of transfer window and they love to talk. I think Dom's made the point. It is the thing we talk about the most, and there's a difference between that. So if you are chatting to somebody who just wants their opinion, I mean, don't cunt everyone off. I mean, not everyone's bad, but there are the regular ones like that gentleman from this afternoon. Who said we should go in for Nasri, which was funny.
Hey, but he has a good authority.
Yeah.
That has done, and I'm sure Ivan phones him up and says, "Oi, dick boy."
Shall we pull the trigger? I need your opinion on this one.
Yes, and you just imagine Ivan on the phone to some kid with a fucking pudding bowl face and haircut, and a Jeremy Beadle hand looking spasticized in a selfie.
Well, the big hand or the little hand?
No. Hold up there, boys. I can imagine Ivan phoning up you know who. Hey. Your girlfriend's a nurse. Tell me which doctor I should employ, please.
Dom, that's you need to employ. Don't imply him.
I'll just bring.
One
Right,
final
next
question.
question.
Right, this is the last one from Simon Hardwick, one of the Hardwick twins. I say twins, they're not twins. Who is the more deluded, Michael Owen or Harry Redknapp? Both absolute wank puffins in my eyes.
Wank puffin.
Wank
oh.
puffins.
Oh, is that this year's cockwomble?
No, it's another level up.
Before everyone starts going off about Michael Owen, I will just say that he wouldn't get a job if he didn't have high ratings. So everybody secretly, it's a car crash. You can't not drive past and look and laugh.
That's
But
bullshit.
Dom, he's still a cunt.
Yeah, no doubt. But the guy obviously gets views, and everyone talks about the stupid shit that he says, so it gets ratings.
It's the
No,
Stuart
actually,
Robson principle, isn't it?
the TV ratings of BT Champions League are actually really piss poor, and in fact, actually, they're losing massive amount of money. They've actually had to start to show games for free. Pundits aren't a draw to the games. The games are what draw people in. You know, at the end of the day, what would actually draw more people in is no pundits and no commentators. Just show the games.
That's a good idea. They could have Harold fucking Shipman presenting it, and people would still watch.
Wasn't there an option? Wasn't there an option on one of
There
the
was.
stations that you could do that?
Sky used
Yeah.
to do it. Yeah,
Sky
used
when
to
it was
do
analog. Yeah.
They should do it now. They should offer it as a premium product. You know,
Pay for that.
or even mute your most hated pundit.
They had that
then
fan
you'd
cam,
see,
hadn't they?
then you'd see Owen become popular because he would then raise loads of money.
Oh, not even. If you could electrocute them, can you imagine?
Oh, brilliant! That would be great.
Oh,
Every
press
time they talk bollocks, you just electrocute them.
Every time there's a corner or something like that, it just gets a shock through this. Yeah.
I just think, you know, like you have like political correctness and you have these sort of like quotas. I think we should have it in reverse in football, where they're not allowed more than one scouser per programme.
This is it exactly.
And no scousers are allowed on any games involving Liverpool or Everton at all, ever again. And if they ever get to European final, if Liverpool were playing, say, in the Europa League and they're getting absolutely fucked up the arse by Sevilla, the only people that should be allowed on there is really nasty bastard Everton fans to laugh loudly.
I tell you what, the most.
I have to say, I think that Harry Redknapp is getting away very lightly here. I understand Simon's question.
I haven't started on him yet, Dave.
If you saw what he wrote on Monday, it's absolutely scandalous, wasn't it?
What
has Arsenal got to do to catch up with Tottenham? What happened the day before?
Yeah. Hold on a minute. Let's put this into context. We are talking about a guy who was sacked, effectively sacked by Daniel Levy, for, let's say, less than open, transparent policy on why he was buying certain players, i.e. I bought Nico Cranshaw for the 58th time in my career because I'm on a volume discount from his agent.
Who ran every club bar Tottenham into the ground.
And he bankrupted every club he's practically been into, and if he hadn't been sacked from Tottenham, he would have bankrupted them. Shame I didn't keep him. But,
he was doing a Georgie Graham.
But I mean, let's be fair. The man is a buffoon. The whole country knows he's a buffoon. He's sort of like the court jester of football, isn't he? Really. I think it's a bit sad to mock him because it's a bit like going down the nut house and in the Victorian ages and laughing at the lunatics.
I tell you who's the most bitter cunt on TV is who's the short little fella, Frodo. He used to play for Liverpool. One in Tottenham.
It's me, innit?
No. Oh, Danny Murphy.
Oh, Danny Mills.
Yeah.
Danny Mills is up there as well. He's a thunder cunt.
Hold up, yeah. Danny is
Mills
not as intelligent as Harvey Price.
No, he's not. No, he's really not.
So
Can we stop mocking that kid because it's not nice and it ain't fair? And we will have listeners who've got kids who've got problems and they won't like it.
I'm mocking Danny Mills.
Yeah, but that's not the point. Danny Mills is just pissed off because Thierry Henry anally raped him by the corner flag during the game. And did it 3 or 4 times just because he could.
So you've gone from don't say anything about kids to bum raping.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Steve's got standards. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Dog's right. I've got standards.
The one thing that I wished with Michael Owen is that there was someone next to him at all times that pulled him up on stuff when he says stupid shit, just because it would be funny when he starts saying, well, tell me, who's better than Liverpool? Why would you? And you go, well, there were 7 teams better, Michael. 7 teams this year.
Have you not seen the clip where he gets ravaged by, Savage himself? And he's he's caught on the hop and he says something like, Ozil wouldn't get into a Liverpool side. So Savage looks at me and says, what? Ozil wasn't getting to Liverpool side. So who would you have instead? And he comes out with some stupid thing. And Savage absolutely ripped him to pieces. And then after the game, they've got Piers Morgan comes in the studio, and he takes him to task over it. Which it would be good, but unfortunately it's that fucking grass, so it can't be good. So
yeah, but let's be fair.
That's what I mean. It would just be funny if they had someone with Michael Owen just to I mean, if you're going to say something so fucking idiotic and stupid, you can at least have someone press you on it to make you. You can't just say stupid shit like that, surely.
I still don't understand how that cunt was World Footballer of the Year. I don't.
Well, one trick pony of the year.
Yeah.
What they should do, in the matches where he's commentating or where he's a pundit, they should have a Chelsea fan who makes A4 banners there. Who just like the Bob Dylan album where he's holding up signs with lyrics on. You should get these Chelsea fans to write up, he blows goats, talking shite, scouse twat, or just like reasons why what he's saying is bollocks.
Hold up, yeah. If you can find a Chelsea fan who can spell, I'll fucking.
That's the issue with it, isn't it?
Jesus Christ. Knuckle dragging cunts. That's all they're good at is pushing people off trains.
Are we done on the questions, Danny?
That is all. Well, there was a few other ones that are a little bit more in depth, so
go on, give an in-depth one.
No, I've gone off.
Steve's got to go to bed. It's 4:30 in in Poland.
I've closed.
It's IPA o'clock.
I've shut the file.
Absolutely.
Just one more thing we've got to say, Kim, just promote the latest blog, which is by our very own Jeff and all the boys. It's the ABW Season Review Part 2. Part 3 is coming tomorrow. So you've got, I think Jeff's wrote a bit on there, and So
Drew,
Simon-
Luke, Simon.
Yeah, Simon and Drew. And while we're at it, we should also say thanks to the radio people, which is Kris. Put your hand up if your name's Kris. John and Tom and Carl and Chimp. With all the every single time.
Jason.
Literally, and he's in the. I've got him in the other one.
Don't
the other
forget the
group.
American.
Well, I haven't. And then he goes Gimli, me, and then Jeff. Nice for you to turn up, Jeff. You might have your reward taken away from you. Raj, who's busy I think he's in Latvia or somewhere like that, looking at them sex toys stuck to walls, according to his
Donkeys.
last tweet. I don't know what it is. And then you're here now. Park Fife, he's not here, thanks to him. And then other Jason, we just won't at him because he'll get angry with it. And I think that's everybody covered. So I just want to say thank you to everybody and all of our wonderful listeners. We're not up our own asses to say fans because none of you like us. You just listen.
No.
I
personally like to say thank you to Jeff, Raj, Jason, Dom, Andrew, Kate, other Jason, David, Steve, Kris, John, Tom, Carl, Chimp, OG, Drew, Simon and Luke. And I think that we should, it's about time to announce that you might have heard Simon on the podcast a few weeks ago. For those that actually liked him, you'll be pleased to hear that he will be joining us on the podcast in a more regular capacity for next season. He is now an official member of a Bergkamp Wonderland, our podcast
section.
Yeah, the podcast.
Still blogging.
Yeah, still blogging, of course, because that was one of the rules.
That's his
And
name.
we've got the 3-part blogging thing coming out, Gimli, that OG wants you to plug.
Yes, I do have it here. Dom.
I just did that.
Yeah, Danny just did it. But I will say again, it's a 3-part season review by all of the bloggers. Part 2 is out first thing tomorrow. Is out today, and Part 3 is out first thing tomorrow morning. So give that a look. Part 1 is already out. So give it a look and show them some love. Apart from that, Danny, I think that's pretty much all we've got time for. I've got also, just before I go quickly, there is someone that is auctioning a signed Arsenal shirt by, I believe it's Mesut Ozil and Alexis Sanchez. I will be posting it up on the podcast account. It's for a small Welsh football team. So go and give them some love. A good friend of mine.
What do they need our help for?
No. It will all become apparent. I will post it on the podcast account, but it is for a good cause. So go and donate or make bids or whatever you have to do. It's
donations. Well, we're opening our donate. We haven't closed it. I forgot to close it. We already had one person donate. I think it was Todd. So you just go to our website, all the little W's at bergkampwonderland.co.uk, and it shows you there how you can donate to us via PayPal to keep this shit running for another year, and so we don't get any PayPal charges. Because the first year we did this, we paid about 150 quid in PayPal charges, I think. No, maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was about 50 quid. Yeah,
Danny,
yes.
Speaking of keeping shit running, our donation page is open as well. Just to give it another tickle, it's officially open today for the Pirates stuff. So the shirts are up for grabs, and we've already had 7 people donate already, which is awesome. So thank you very much to everybody.
Look at that! Danny is like 6 ahead of us.
Banners.
No, amazing. But
if anybody there wants to sponsor us, just buy Gimli a car and something to dribble into. I could do with a new PC. Top of the range i7 would be lovely, and then you can have the podcast for that.
Yeah, I'd like basically Danny wants a new computer. I'll have a Mazda RX-7.
That's a very gay car.
No,
I want to say a Mercedes AMG 65.
Since when has an RX-7 been a gay car? That's shit.
Clarkson said it was.
It's a hairdresser's car, and it's probably people with prolapsed anuses.
And you won't be able to reach the pedals on it.
You're thinking about an MX-5, Steve. The MX-7 is
4-door. Back doors open, opposite to the front doors.
You know all the back doors being open when you're Danny.
That's actually an RX-8.
Same thing.
No, and it's got the suicide doors on it. Now you're just making yourself look like a cunt. Right, so how do we wrap this shit up for another year?
Hey, where's Chimpaguna? I've missed Chimpaguna. Where's he gone?
He's
dead.
He just posted a very nice picture that you might find amusing in the main group, Jace, if you want to have a quick look at that. But He's around. Trust me, he's
I
around.
haven't seen him for ages. I like Chimp. He's a good boy.
He is.
He's being a full-time fanny takes up a lot of your time.
Not easy.
He's just moved house as well. So
Oh, Chimp, good luck, mate. I hope you don't get worms or whatever, you know what I mean?
Whoops.
Infestations, infestations, you know what I mean, boys? There's a
Oh,
rat in my kitchen and all that.
yes. We won't be entering this year's podcast awards either because it's fixed, isn't it, Gim?
Yeah.
We
All
got beat
fixed.
with all of our millions of followers by a poxy West Ham one with about 5,000 followers.
I'm sorry, but when you got someone like Jeff on 140,000 followers,
Yeah.
and just they can go and fuck themselves.
In all fairness, boys, when I picked up the award last year, I did manage to tell the guy from the Fighting Cock podcast, the Tottenham podcast, "Oi, mate, mind the gap."
Oh, that's why you've ruined it for us.
Ah, fuck
You
up.
shit.
It's the last time we send up Davies for a corporate event.
I was charming.
I'm sure you were.
I
Right
really
then,
was.
that's it for another season. I don't know if there are plans to do things over the summer. I'm sure we'll notify you if there is. Maybe the
A blogger special.
or the After Dark.
You never know if you get drunk enough.
Yeah, many of you that listen to the After Dark, I'm sure we might be doing one of them over the summer. If Kris and Jason and all the other boys are up for it. But that's it. It's time to say goodbye for yet another season. And on a season of highs and indeed lows.
In your case, mainly highs.
Yeah, I've had a lot of highs on this podcast. Do you know what? I can honestly say, hand on heart, I have not done one of these podcasts absolutely smacked off my tits on green. And I sit here still in the very same predicament.
We'd
So
never
that-
guessed.
No.
Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear.
Gim. Hello!
Wanker. So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next year or next season. Good night.
Who do you think you are kidding, Tottenham Hotspur, if you think of Arsenal done? Fuck off, you horrible swamp-dwelling Middlesex cunts.